bibliographical text more than any other text in history.
新约其实是一本超越了这个 bibliographical text。
Does anybody know what number 2 is?
大家知道说第二个是什么吗？
My English group should know.
我的英文
Do you guys remember? It's the Iliad by Homer. Very good job, Ian. And so the Iliad actually has 643 copies.
伊利亚事实上也有643场备。
Anybody know how many copies of the New Testament we have?
各位大家知道说就是新约圣经到底有多少 copy 吗？
24,907.
有24970。
And when you look at the time span between the original New Testament documents and their earliest copies, it's about 225 years.
我就说，如果你compare 第一本 copy 就是在新约，然后就是跟第一本新约他们手写来做比较。
If you look at some of the most famous documents throughout history, for example, Sophocles' works or Plato's works, the time span are all more than 1,400 years.
就是你们 compare 就是比较说就是Plato 这个文章跟另外一个文章，就是他们大概有1400年差距。
So it's been said that if you are going to discount the New Testament based on your belief that it's not historically accurate, then you have to discount basically every single piece of work from antiquity.
就是如果你要就是说你不相信说这个新约圣经是事实上是就是有多种的话，就是你要选就是你就是把过去所有的东西都推翻掉。
The next test is the internal reliability test.
下一个 test 就是在里面的这个信仰 test。
This is a test to see the cohesiveness of the entire Bible, to make sure that it doesn't contradict itself.
我就是说这个 test 就是说这个测验是就是要查看说圣经里面的这个相容性，就是。
Now we've heard from all of our friends and so forth that are Christian that the Bible is full of contradictions, right?
就是说各位可能都知道说就是这个圣经上面有很多矛盾的地方。
But what is the truth?
到底什么是真实的？
Well, in the 1800s, there's an author by the name of William Burr who basically went through the Bible and documented 143 contradictions in the Bible.
就是在1800年的时候有人就是查看圣经，然后就把圣经里面所有矛盾的地方都把它。
But when you study these contradictions, what you realize is that when you put the contradictions in the right context, they're not really contradictions.
OK， 就是你把这个矛盾的地方，如果你仔细就是说深入去了解的话，你会发现它其实是不矛盾的。
For example, some of the most famous people in the Bible were polygamists, right? And they committed a lot of adultery.
OK， 就是举例来说，就是圣经里面就是有很多就是人，他是就是有这个犯奸淫的。
And this clearly contradicts the teaching of the Bible.
这个就是跟这个圣经上面的教导其实是有很大的矛盾。
However, when the Bible is portraying these people such as David and Jacob as being polygamists or adulterers, they're not. It's not a moral dictum that's being presented.
就是在圣经里面提到，就是说雅各，然后还有这个大卫都有犯这个奸淫的时候，其实他就是跟我们所要教导的道理是不太一样。
Rather, one of the things that's clear about the Bible is that God always chooses those who are weak and imperfect.
OK， 就是这边就是要讲说，就是神就是每次他都是选，就是被世人所看为是很软弱的人。
And Jacob and David certainly qualify.
就是大卫跟那个雅各是。
Another one is in Genesis 1. It said God says you're only allowed to eat vegetables, but eight books later, eight chapters later, it says okay, you can eat meat.
OK， 就是在这个圣经上面，创纪第1章所讲到说人说你只能吃这个蔬菜和水果，可是在8个chapter之后呢，就说你可以吃肉。
So there is a contradiction, but if you put in the right context, what this shows is that sometimes future revelations will supersede earlier revelations.
OK， 就是没错，跟这样子听起来好像是一个非常就是说是矛盾的地方。
However, there's more. Let's consider something that's really truly amazing about the Bible.
OK， 就是还有一个就是说，我们就是可以 把你写完，然后是有有40位这个作者。
Some of these authors are kings.
有些作者是君王。
Some are historians.
有些是历史学家。
And some are fishermen.
有些是渔夫。
They come from 3 different continents and written in 3 different languages.
他们就是有3种不同的这个版本，然后还有3种不同的这个。
And there's all these different literary forms. There's history, poetry, letters. There's romance.
就是书里面就是有讲到就是有讲到有历史的见证，然后就是有诗篇，然后还有就是很浪漫的一些文章。
So the incredible thing about such diversity in the Bible, written by so many people over so many years, is they all point to only one person.
OK， 就是这边所要强调的是，就是圣经就是虽然有这么多作者在写，然后有这么多不一样的事实，有历史，有罗马尼克的文章，有诗篇，可是他们都只是在对一件事情在诉说。
You open up any book of the Bible, and if it's in the Old Testament, it's anticipating the coming of Jesus.
OK， 如果你翻开旧约的话，就是你会发现说它是在预言耶稣的到来。
And if you open up the New Testament, it's basically accounting for Jesus having already come.
OK， 就是如果你翻开新约的话，这边是讲说耶稣已经来到世上。
One incredible way that this is really evident is just how well Jesus fulfilled all of the Old Testament prophecies.
OK， 这边就讲到说，就是耶稣事实上就是说耶稣的降临，就是验证这个旧约的预言。
There are more than 200 prophecies in the Old Testament that tells you how to recognize who the Messiah is.
OK， 就是在旧约里面有200处提到，就是说这个就是主道。
Even as specific as the Messiah is going to enter Jerusalem.
OK， 就是这边有提到说，就是救世主就是他会就是来到这个以色列来跟我上面。
A few years ago, I read this book by the name, the author of the book is named Stan Helge. Has anyone read this here by chance? Stan Helge is a Jewish man.
Stan Helge 他是一个犹太人。
Now, his family was very devout, and his world was turned upside down one day.
他本来就是生活是非常的富裕，可是就是有一天他的这个生活是完全被反转过来。
Because one day his daughter, who was 21 years old, came back from college and said, "Dad, I'm a Christian."
可是有一天，就是说他21岁的这个女儿，就是从这个大学回来的时候，就跟他爸爸说，爸爸，我从基督徒。
And so from that point on, he said, "I am going to study this because I am going to prove you wrong."
OK， 从那个时候开始呢，他就说 ，OK， 我要开始就是做一些很深的研究，因为我要证明说你是错的。
So the next several months, that's all he did basically. He, in many ways, kind of ignored his family because he was trying to answer this question: Who is Jesus?
就是说，后来呢，就是说他就是要去，就是说去探讨说，就到底是谁是耶稣。
And what struck him was just how accurate the Old Testament prophecies were about the Messiah.
就是他惊讶是，就是说这圣经旧约里面所提到救世主到底是何等正确。
And you can read the entire chapter of Isaiah 53, and it basically just hits you right upside the head that it has to be talking about Jesus.
OK， 就是当你在念这个以赛亚书第53章的时候，就好像就是被当头棒喝一下，就是告诉你说，就是很明显的告诉你说，耶稣就是会要来临。
To the point that some synagogues actually will skip that passage when the text is being read in their synagogue.
也就是说，他就是或者也许他，比如说他把那个他们 skip 掉。
So after several months of trying to prove that Jesus was false, something happened.
我就是说，在经过几个月，就是说他一直尝试说，就是要证明说耶稣是错的，跟他女儿是错的，就是有些事情发生了。
He broke down and he went to his wife.
OK， 就是说他